Imagine realizing you're completely out of infant Tylenol.
Oh, every parent's nightmare.
Right, it's the worst. So imagine tapping your phone, and then exactly 150 seconds later, this robotic winch just lowers a pristine box into your backyard.
From like 100 feet in the air.
Exactly, from 100 feet up. And you'd think we were analyzing some, I don't know, leaked Pentagon test or a concept video for a hyper-futuristic smart city.
Some slick PR campaign.
But we aren't. This is literally just a random Tuesday in Kemah, Texas.
Yeah.
The sci-fi future of flying robots dropping goods in your backyard, it isn't a decade away. It is happening over suburban patios today.
It really forces a complete recalibration of, our internal technological timeline.
How do you mean?
Well, we've spent decades being conditioned to view advanced logistics as something constantly lingering on the horizon, like, oh, jetpacks and flying cars are coming.
Right, always 5 years away.
Always 5 years away. But the moment you see consumer-grade, point-to-point aerial delivery executed flawlessly in a standard, residential neighborhood, that horizon collapses. It's a paradigm shift hiding in plain sight.
Welcome into the deep dive, everyone. Today we are taking a magnifying glass to a phenomenon that is quietly but massively rewriting the rules of logistics, convenience, and really the very structure of our communities.
And the best part is the source we're using.
Yes. We aren't analyzing a sterile corporate white paper or a tightly controlled public relations stunt. We're basing our entire analysis today on a raw, highly practical piece of source material.
Just a normal guy.
Just a normal guy. It's a YouTube video transcript from the channel Third Coast Drone, and it's simply titled, "My First Drone Delivery Ever, Walmart Kemah, Texas Experience."
The sheer ordinariness of the video is, I think, its most compelling feature. The creator isn't a tech executive.
Right, he's not sponsored.
Exactly. He just heard drone delivery was active in his local area and decided to document the process on his phone.
So the mission for this deep dive is to unpack this entire experience for you. We're going to track this transaction from the very first tap on a smartphone to the literal drop-off of the package.
Step by step.
Right. We need to understand the mechanics of this highly localized supply chain and what it actually means for your daily life. And I'm coming at this from two very distinct perspectives today.
You've got your two hats on.
I do. On one hand, I'm wearing my journalist hat, so I'm naturally skeptical. I want to look at the hard facts, the infrastructure required, the timeline, and the underlying economics of making a flying machine bring you a snack.
And that skepticism is crucial, honestly, because the claims being made by these systems sound physically impossible until you break down the mechanics.
Totally. But on the other hand, I am looking at this as a parent of two young children.
Which changes everything.
It changes everything. I am utterly, hopelessly fascinated by any service that promises to buy back precious time and eliminate chaotic errands. If a technology can prevent me from packing two kids into a minivan to retrieve one forgotten item, you have my undivided attention.
Oh, absolutely.
So to understand the revolution, we have to start at step one. You might expect a service utilizing automated aerospace vehicles to require a really complex onboarding process.
Yeah, like maybe a property survey to map your trees.
Or a background check. Or at least a lengthy digital waiver that you have to scroll through for 10 minutes.
Right, some massive liability form.
But as the source reveals, the reality is shockingly frictionless. The user in Kemah simply clicked a link on Walmart.com to download the Wing app.
And Wing, just for context, operates as the specialized aerial courier in this specific retail ecosystem.
Right.
But the detail that really demands our immediate attention is the creator's timeline for this initial setup.
It's wild.
It is. He explicitly notes that from the moment he decided to try the service to the moment he was ready to place an order, the entire process took 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Look, as a parent, 2 minutes is literally the maximum uninterrupted attention span I have to dedicate to a new task.
I believe it.
It takes me significantly longer to negotiate with a toddler about putting on their shoes than it apparently takes to sync my household with a robotic supply chain. I mean, I can't even get out of my driveway in 2 minutes.
And from a tech industry perspective, that 120-second metric is the most critical variable for predicting mass adoption.
Really? More than the drone itself?
Oh, yeah. Because in consumer technology, friction is the ultimate enemy. Every additional required click, every password verification, every drop-down menu you have to navigate it acts as a filter that steadily bleeds potential users.
People just give up.
Exactly. We all possess a psychological threshold for adopting a brand new technology. If engaging with a service takes 20 minutes of setup, especially one as visually and conceptually radical as an autonomous drone, people will abandon it.
Right, they'll just say, forget it, I'll go to the store.
Yep. They will default back to the familiar friction of getting in their car and driving.
So by reducing the barrier to entry to 2 minutes, it turns what should be a massive behavioral shift into a simple impulse decision.
It normalizes the radical. Think about the historical adoption of disruptive technologies, right?
Mhm.
The early automobile was a terrifying, loud piece of machinery.
Oh, absolutely.
It required a deep understanding of engine timing just to operate without breaking your arm on a crank.
Right, you had to be a mechanic to drive to the store.
Exactly. But today, you push a button on a fob from inside your kitchen to start your car. By compressing the Wing app setup into 2 minutes, the designers are actively stripping away the intimidation factor of aviation.
They're hiding the complexity.
They're masking a highly advanced aerospace logistics operation behind the familiar veneer of just a regular mobile app. They're telling the consumer they don't need to understand air traffic control algorithms. They just need to know what kind of cookies they want.
Okay, but I want to push back on this perceived simplicity, though. Wearing my journalist hat for a second,
Go for it.
calling it frictionless feels like we are ignoring the immense back-end data processing happening in those 2 minutes. I mean, the app has to instantly verify that the user's GPS coordinates fall within a highly specific FAA-approved flight corridor.
True.
It has to confirm that the specific Walmart location has the selected items in stock, packed in drone-compatible containers, and that a drone is currently charged and available on the launchpad. The consumer sees 2 minutes of tapping, but the software is executing millions of calculations to validate the logistics.
Well, that hidden complexity is exactly the hallmark of mature engineering.
Make it look easy.
Precisely. The system absorbs the logistical burden so the user doesn't have to. The friction hasn't been eliminated necessarily. It has just been entirely offloaded from the human to the algorithm.
Okay, that makes sense. So the app is set up at lightning speed, but the real shock comes the moment the order button is actually pressed.
Yeah, the timeline here is fascinating.
It fundamentally breaks our standard understanding of retail logistics. So the user states he is located 5 miles from the local Walmart. The app's initial delivery estimate is 9 to 19 minutes.
Which, by the way, 19 minutes for a 5-mile delivery in a suburban environment is already an impressive baseline.
Right. If I order a pizza from 5 miles away, I'm waiting 45 minutes.
Exactly. In a traditional gig economy framework, a 5-mile delivery easily consumes 30 to 45 minutes.
Because there's a human involved.
Right. A human driver has to accept the digital ping, drive to the retail location, locate the item, return to their vehicle, navigate local traffic patterns, and then find your specific address.
But in the video, the timeline shifts aggressively. The app updates the estimate down to 3 minutes and 30 seconds.
A massive jump.
And then the creator documents that the drone actually arrives in exactly 2 minutes and 30 seconds from the moment the order was placed.
Unbelievable.
2.5 minutes to process an order, load a payload, and cover 5 miles.
We really need to dissect the physics of those 150 seconds because it is an astonishing logistical feat.
Break it down for us.
Okay, so the moment the order registers, the item in this case, it was promotional cookies, and a bottle of water has to be physically picked and placed into specialized aerodynamic packaging.
Right.
That package must be secured to the drone's payload mechanism. Simultaneously, the automated systems calculate a unique flight path. They're factoring in real-time wind speed, localized weather data, and the positions of other active drones in the area.
All in seconds.
Yes. Then the vehicle launches, accelerates to its cruising speed, traverses the 5-mile distance, pinpoints the precise GPS coordinates of a specific backyard, initiates a hover sequence, deploys the package, and releases it.
Let's just do the math on that velocity for a second.
Let's do it.
If the distance is a flat 5 miles and we generously assume it took 30 seconds for the store personnel to load the drone and clear it for launch.
It was very fast.
Incredibly fast. But even if we assume that, the drone covered 5 miles in 120 seconds. That translates to a sustained flight speed of 150 miles per hour.
Point to point.
Point to point. Over a populated area. If I drive 5 miles in Texas traffic around Kima, it takes me 15 to 20 minutes one way, assuming the traffic lights actually cooperate.
And that's the key difference. A drone operates entirely outside the constraints of terrestrial infrastructure.
It just flies over it all.
It doesn't yield to pedestrians, doesn't wait at red lights, and it doesn't wind through the serpentine layouts of suburban subdivisions. It takes a direct, uninhibited vector.
A straight line.
But beyond the physics, consider the psychological whiplash the consumer experiences here.
Oh, yeah.
The app anchors his expectation at 9 to 19 minutes, which feels totally reasonable for delivery. Then it updates to 3:30 and arrives in 2:30. The service is aggressively over-delivering on its own promise.
And this speed, it fundamentally alters household crisis management.
Oh, I'm sure you have thoughts on this.
I do. Think about the scenarios that completely derail a family's day. You're changing a diaper and realize you are holding the very last wipe.
A true emergency.
Or you're halfway through a complex dinner recipe and realize you are missing a crucial ingredient. Historically, those moments require a massive logistical pivot.
You have to stop everything.
You have to stop your task, pack children into car seats, navigate to the store, walk the aisles, stand in the checkout line, and drive back. It is a minimum 1-hour penalty on your day.
And it introduces an immense amount of stress and friction into the household dynamic.
Exactly. But with a 2.5-minute delivery, the problem is solved faster than the time it takes to locate your car keys.
That's a great point.
It redefines the concept of an emergency run to the store. It turns a crisis into a mere pause.
It collapses the distance between wanting an item and possessing an item. When the barrier to acquiring physical goods is reduced to 150 seconds, the retail store effectively becomes a seamless extension of your own pantry.
Okay, but that 150-mile-per-hour velocity across a suburban landscape, that is an aerospace marvel.
Undoubtedly.
But historically, aerospace marvels are exclusively reserved for the ultra-wealthy, or at least heavily monetized.
Right. It's not cheap.
If I want a courier to rush a package across town in under 10 minutes, I expect to pay handsomely for that premium speed, which makes the checkout screen on this app completely paradoxical.
The economics presented in the source material represent an aggressive disruption of the established delivery market.
I mean, the creator explicitly reads from the app parameters for his area. The service is available up to a 10-mile radius from the store, and here is the critical detail. Delivery is always free, and there is no tipping.
It's hard to wrap your head around.
It is. Furthermore, the app offered promotional perks, like free cookies on the first order, which surprisingly arrived alongside a complimentary bottle of water, free delivery, no tipping, 150-mile-per-hour robotic couriers.
We really have to unpack how devastating that free and no tipping model is to the current gig economy landscape.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Platforms like Uber Eats or DoorDash are built on an incredibly fragile, expensive, human-driven model. The consumer is burdened with a cascade of variables. You've got service fees, delivery fees, small cart penalties, and surge pricing during peak hours.
Under the human-driven model, ordering a $10 item somehow results in a $26 checkout screen.
Every time.
And then you have the anxiety of tipping culture.
Right. In the current gig economy, a tip no longer functions as a gratuity for exceptional service.
What does it function as?
It operates as an upfront bid for service. If a consumer doesn't offer a high enough tip at the checkout screen, their order might sit abandoned at the store because no independent contractor wants to accept the low-paying job.
Wow, I never thought of it as a bid.
Yeah. It creates immense social pressure and makes the transaction emotionally taxing.
But the drone removes the human labor element from the final mile entirely. The drone doesn't care if it's raining, well, within its weather parameters. The drone doesn't judge the size of your order. It doesn't require a financial incentive to accept the route. Removing the driver removes the emotional and financial friction of the final transaction. It turns a premium luxury service into a basic utility.
And let's analyze the geographic footprint of that 10-mile radius, too.
Yeah.
Using basic geometry, a 10-mile radius creates a coverage area of roughly 314 square miles.
314, that's huge.
That is a massive operational zone for a single retail location. It captures tens of thousands of suburban homes.
It completely redefines the catchment area of a physical building. I mean, a traditional store's influence is strictly limited by how far people are willing to endure traffic.
Exactly.
10 miles in heavy suburban congestion could take 40 minutes, effectively deterring a customer from making the trip. But for a drone, 10 miles is a 5-minute flight. That one Walmart suddenly serves a vastly larger population with unprecedented, frictionless efficiency.
Which leads directly into the behavioral shift. When delivery is always free and there is no tip required, the friction of ordering a single small item vanishes entirely.
Yes, This is exactly how you gamify the system as a consumer. Because under the old gig economy model, you would never use an app to order a single bottle of water.
The math makes no sense.
None. You have to build a cart to justify the fees. You end up buying $30 worth of items you didn't even want just to make the delivery fee feel acceptable.
We've all been there.
But with a free drone service, if you want one apple, you summon one apple. If you need a single tube of toothpaste, you order it. The barrier to entry for microtransactions is obliterated.
Which, of course, begs the question of sustainability.
Right. How are they paying for that?
Exactly. These companies are spending hundreds of millions of dollars on aerospace engineering, pilot programs, regulatory lobbying, and the physical drones themselves. Offering free delivery and promotional cookies is a classic loss leader strategy executed on a massive scale.
So, looking at this through my journalist lens, it reminds me of early ride-sharing platforms.
Like early Uber.
Yes. When Uber first launched, the rides were incredibly cheap, heavily subsidized by venture capital, specifically designed to get consumers addicted to the sheer convenience of pushing a button and summoning a car.
The current drone delivery strategy mirrors that playbook perfectly. The companies are absorbing the operational costs of these early flights to build consumer habituation.
They want you hooked.
They want you, the listener, to stop associating the retail store with a stressful, time-consuming drive and start associating it with magical, instant gratification. Once the habit is deeply ingrained and consumers have fundamentally restructured their household management around this convenience, the economic model will evolve.
So we might eventually see this transition into a paid subscription model where unlimited drone delivery is a perk of an annual fee, similar to Amazon Prime.
Most likely, yes.
Or perhaps more intriguingly, what if the operational cost of launching a drone at massive scale drops so dramatically that it is genuinely cheaper for the retailer to fly the item to your house than to pay human staff to manage a massive parking lot, air condition a massive retail floor, and staff checkout lanes?
That is the long-term gamble.
Wow. Okay, so we've established the frictionless setup, the blistering speed, and the disruptive economics, but we must address the physical reality of the arrival.
Yes, the drop-off.
How does an autonomous machine traveling at highway speeds safely hand a box of cookies to a human being in a suburban backyard?
The source material provides fantastic visual documentation of this exact moment.
It does. The creator walks outside, holding his phone, ready to capture the arrival from multiple angles, including footage from the ground and from his balcony. And the most critical detail he notes is that the drone never actually touches the ground.
Right, it stays airborne.
He wonders out loud how high it goes before it takes off, indicating a clear vertical separation between the machine and the package.
And that decision to utilize an aerial drop-off rather than a physical landing is a vital safety and logistical design choice. Popular imagination often pictures delivery drones touching down like miniature helicopters on our lawns.
Which sounds incredibly dangerous.
It is. A physical landing introduces massive, uncontrollable liabilities.
Right. As a journalist looking at liability, a landing drone is a nightmare. And as a parent, if a shiny robot lands in my yard, my kids are going to sprint directly toward it.
Without hesitation.
You have rapidly spinning rotor blades, unpredictable terrain, pets, and the downwash from the propellers kicking up debris. It's a recipe for disaster.
So to mitigate those hazards, the industry standard is the hover drop utilizing a tether mechanism.
How does that work mechanically?
The drone approaches the GPS coordinates, decelerates, and remains at a safe cruising altitude, likely 50 to 100 feet in the air, maintaining clearance above trees, power lines, and human activity. Then, it lowers the specialized aerodynamic payload on a motorized line. Tension sensors in the winch detect the exact moment the package makes contact with the ground. The mechanism releases the tension, detaches the package, retracts the line, and the drone immediately ascends to its return vector.
It's like playing an incredibly precise game of catch with an invisible center fielder who just drops a ball perfectly into your strike zone from 100 feet in the air.
That's a perfect analogy.
The dangerous machinery stays safely elevated while the cargo gently enters the human zone.
And this tethered approach also dramatically compresses the turnaround time.
Oh, because it doesn't have to land.
Exactly. A landing sequence requires careful scanning, descending, powering down, waiting for the human to retrieve the package, powering up and launching. Hovering, dropping a line, and retreating takes mere seconds.
Now, once the creator retrieves the package, he mentions a highly specific detail. He tries to open the box to get his cookies and water, and he notes, quote, "a little harder to open than I expected, maybe because I'm using one hand."
It seems like a minor complaint about packaging, but it actually reveals a profound amount of information about the physics of the journey.
Right. If I order a package and struggle to open it, my first instinct is to blame poor design. Like, why did they tape this so much?
Sure.
But when you factor in the mechanics of what just occurred, this tight packaging is an absolute aerodynamic necessity.
Exactly.
This cardboard box was just propelled 5 miles through open air at speeds exceeding 100 miles per hour. It was subjected to wind shear, pressure differentials, and the g-forces of the drone's acceleration and deceleration.
A standard, flimsy retail box would violently disintegrate under those conditions. The contents would be scattered across 3 different neighborhoods.
Just cookies raining from the sky.
Exactly. The packaging must be structurally robust, streamlined to minimize drag, and sealed tightly enough to protect the payload from the elements. The friction the consumer experiences at the unboxing stage is the required toll for the package surviving an extreme aerospace journey.
It isn't a frustrating cardboard box. It is highly engineered, disposable aerospace shielding for your snacks.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay, so watching this single delivery in a Texas backyard is a fantastic novelty. But novelty alone doesn't reshape society. Scale reshapes society. And the video concludes with a crucial observation that hints at a massive, impending structural shift in our communities.
The creator pivots from documenting his personal transaction to observing the broader network.
Right. After unboxing his items, the user physically gets into his car and makes the 5-mile drive back to the local Walmart. When he arrives, he points his camera at the sky above the retail hub and films multiple other drones returning from their respective deliveries.
He's seeing the hive in action.
Yes. And he states to his audience, I do predict this will be a much more common occurrence in your area soon.
That visual, multiple autonomous vehicles buzzing back to a central hub is the moment we transition from individual convenience to systemic change. It provides a window into how this technology will alter the fundamental rhythms of a neighborhood.
Let's explore how this fracture is changing local shopping habits. For decades, the weekly grocery run has been an anchor of suburban life.
Oh, yeah. The Saturday morning ritual.
You compile a massive list, carve out 2 hours on a Saturday morning, fill a high-capacity cart, play Tetris with the bags in your trunk, and haul it all into your kitchen.
And that ingrained habit is entirely a byproduct of the friction of travel. It is incredibly inefficient to drive a 3,000-pound vehicle to a commercial center multiple times a day for single items. Therefore, we consolidate, we predict our future needs, and we buy in bulk.
But if you can summon items to your backyard in 150 seconds for free, the structural necessity of that weekend grocery run collapses.
Entirely.
Why would you spend your Saturday elbowing through crowded aisles if you can instantly order the specific ingredients for dinner while the oven is preheating?
The behavior shifts from predictive bulk purchasing to hyper-frequent, on-demand micro-shopping.
Micro-shopping, I like that term.
Yet consumers will stop hoarding goods just in case, because the store's inventory is now, temporally speaking, closer to their kitchen island than their own basement pantry.
That concept of micro-shopping carries a massive macro implication for community traffic patterns.
This is where it gets really interesting.
Think about the drive the video creator took to film those returning drones. To travel those 5 miles, he had to mobilize a 3,000-pound machine, burn fossil fuels, occupy a physical lane of asphalt, navigate intersections, and contribute to the overall congestion of his local grid, all to transport one human being.
It is an absurdly resource-intensive method for moving light goods or individuals.
Okay.
A significant percentage of local traffic doesn't consist of commuters traveling to distant offices.
What is it, mostly?
It consists of residents running trivial errands within a 5 to 10 mile radius of their homes, just popping out for milk or dropping something off.
Wow, so if every single one of those returning drones he filmed represents a 3,000-pound car that didn't pull out of a driveway, didn't idle at a stoplight, and didn't occupy a parking space, the impact on the local infrastructure is staggering.
It scales incredibly well.
If you siphon even 20% of those micro errands off the asphalt and shift them into the sky, you dramatically alter the flow of the community.
It improves neighborhood safety by reducing the volume of vehicles rushing through residential intersections. It lowers localized emissions around commercial strip malls, but it also initiates a fundamental transition from road traffic to air traffic.
And that transition changes the visual and auditory landscape of our communities. The sky is currently, well, mostly empty space. We're accustomed to looking horizontally down the road to witness the bustle of commerce delivery trucks, couriers, commuters.
Right, our eyes are naturally trained forward.
But this technology takes that horizontal plane of logistical activity and stacks it vertically.
We are witnessing the birth of a layered infrastructure.
A layered infrastructure.
Yes. The asphalt roads will remain dedicated to heavy freight and human transport, while the lower airspace, situated safely above the tree line but below commercial aviation, becomes a high-speed arterial network for light consumer goods.
It's like a whole new level of traffic.
Exactly. The creator witnessed this network in its infancy, but fast forward a few years, and we are looking at a highly choreographed, automated ballet of commerce occurring continuously overhead.
It is genuinely mind-bending to synthesize this whole journey. We started with a simple 2-minute app download. We unpacked the reality-breaking speed of a 150-second, 5-mile delivery.
We looked at the economics.
Right, the disruptive economics of zero fees and no tipping that threaten the traditional gig economy. We explored the tethered aerospace drop-off mechanics. And finally, we realized that this technology is actively rewiring our neighborhoods, pulling the weight of our daily chores out of our cars and pushing them into the clouds.
It really represents the perfect arc of technological evolution.
How so?
Well, it arrives as a curiosity, it violently proves its efficiency, and then it quietly integrates into the background of our lives until it becomes indispensable.
I want to ask you, the listener, to envision your own life with this capability seamlessly integrated. What is the one errand that constantly disrupts your week?
Everyone has one.
Is it the mid-recipe realization that you forgot an ingredient? Is it the late-night pharmacy run for a sick child? Is it just the mental exhaustion of needing one simple item but lacking the energy to leave the house?
It's exhausting.
Imagine solving that exact problem. Imagine tapping your screen, waiting less time than it takes to brew a cup of coffee, and having the solution lowered into your yard by an invisible tether. No driving, no parking, no scanning items.
No loading the kids in the car.
Just a tap, a brief pause, and a resolution. That reality is not waiting for us in the next decade. It is happening right now.
And as we integrate that reality, I want to leave you with a concept that expands on the final image from the source material.
The drones returning to the store?
Yes. The creator stood in a parking lot, looked up at the sky above the store, and watched the drones returning. For all of human history, looking up at the sky has been a profoundly specific, almost sacred experience.
Right.
It has been our connection to nature, to the weather, to the cosmos. We look up to check for rain clouds, to orient ourselves by the stars, or to simply seek a moment of open space. The sky has been our shared canopy, largely untouched by the mundane logistics of our ground-level lives.
Wow.
So if this technology scales precisely as the video predicts, and exactly as consumer demand will inevitably dictate, how long until that fundamental human experience irrevocably changes?
That's a huge question.
How long until we look up at the sky not to check for rain, but to check the literal traffic of our commerce? Will the sky above our homes become just another busy, automated highway of packages and algorithms?
It's entirely possible.
And if the sky simply becomes another layer of our community's infrastructure, what does that do to our shared human experience of simply looking up?